Hi students, welcome everyone for your online classes. So today we will be continuing with the next part, that is part 3, commensalism, reservoir and zoonosis, which comes under unit 1, introduction to host parasite relationship, 6.7 paper, applied zoology, 6th semester zoology syllabus. Okay, so what is commensalism? Commensalism, the term commensalism means eating at the same table. So we have been studying the interactions between the two different species, or two different species may be a parasite and a host. Okay, so in the last part also we have studied about the host parasitic relationship like symbiosis, mutualism and all, and even here we are studying those interactions, but we are studying a different interactions here. First type of interaction is commensalism. Okay, the meaning of that word is eating at the same table. It is a type of association where the parasite gets benefited without causing injury to its host. If we consider the two species which are in association, is one is host and one is parasite. It need not be like it should only be a parasite or it should only be a host. It can be any two different species. Okay, but it can also be a host and a parasite. Okay? So such a type of association where one is getting benefited and one is not getting any benefit or not even any injury. So commensalism is a long-term biological interaction. It is for a long term, for a long period. Okay, it is also called as symbiosis. Symbiosis means two species living together. It's nothing but symbiosis. So in which members of one species gain benefits while those of the other species neither benefited nor harmed. Okay, one species will be benefited, another species will not be benefited nor be harmed. Okay, so such a type of interaction is called as commensalism, and the organisms are called as commensals. Okay, those which are getting a benefit is called as commensals, and the one which is giving a benefit is called as a host here. The commensal species that benefits from the association may obtain nutrients, shelter, support or locomotion. Okay, what are the helps which are getting from the hostess? So commensal species na nutrients ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಥವಾ shelter ಅಥವಾ support or sometimes locomotion. Without fetching an energy, it will get everything from the host species. Okay, so the host species is unaffected here. The commensal relationship is often between a large host and a smaller commensal. Usually the host will be larger and the commensal will be a smaller here. So the host organism is essentially unchanged by the interaction, whereas the commensal species, okay, host organism will not change itself by the association with that of the new species, or what I can say commensal species. But commensal species will show great adaptations morphologically as well as structurally according to its habitat. Okay, it has to show some of the adaptations because it needs the nourishment, it needs a locomotion, it needs a shelter, support from the host. For that purpose, according to the need, it will adapt itself into a different what I can say morphology and a structure. Next, examples for commensalism. So you can see remora is a fish. Okay, it is commonly called as sucker fish or ray-finned fishes. These usually have a sucker through which it will suck to the largest species, and they can show without any expense they can transport throughout the sea. Okay, so usually big fishes na suck ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು it will move without any fetching of any energy. Okay, so these are remoras that ride attached to sharks and other fishes. Both remora and pilot fishes feed on the leftovers of their host. Here shark is a host and remoras and the pilot fish is a commensal species. So it is attaching itself to this one, it is getting food and it is getting free transport with that of the shark, but shark is not getting anything instead. Okay, so this is there. Then numerous birds feeds on the insects turned up by the grazing animals. When the animals will be grazing on a grazing land, okay, when it grates, many of the insects, okay, they will fly up, okay, which are sitting on a grass. So those insects will be feed okay by the birds, fed by the birds. Here you can see an example how the remoras are attaching itself, or some of the different fishes are attaching itself to the pilot fishes, and remoras will attach itself into a shark. then you can see the grazing animals and how the birds are getting feeds. Okay, so to also to the some of the insects which are attached to the body, ticks and mites which are attached, even they feed on that, as well as on to when the flies or some of the insects will fly from the grasses. Okay, even these birds will eat that. Then reservoir. What is reservoir or what are reservoir? Any person, animal, plant, soil or substance in which an infectious agent normally lives and multiplies is called reservoir. Okay, so disease cause ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಸಮು ಯಾ ಪರ್ಸನಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಯಾ ಆ್ಯನಿಮಲಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟಲ್ಲಿ, ಸಾಯಿಲಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ನಾನ್ ಲಿವಿಂಗ್ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಓಕೆ, ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ನಾರ್ಮಲಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬದುಕುತ್ತೆ ಮತ್ತು ಅದು ತನಗೆ ತಾನು ಮಲ್ಟಿಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ರಿಸರ್ವಾಯರ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಓಕೆ, ರಿಸರ್ವಾಯರ್ ಆರ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ರಿಸರ್ವಾಯರ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ಫೆಕ್ಷನ್. It is also called as alternate host or passive host, or it is also called as a carrier. Okay, it harbors the pathogenic or disease causing organism or infectious organism without injury to itself. Okay, ಅದಕ್ಕೇನು ಇಂಜುರಿ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಇನ್ಫೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಕಾಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಂಥ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ನ ಇದು ಹಾರ್ಬರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿರುತ್ತೆ. The reservoir serves as a source of infection and potential reinfection of humans, and as a means of sustaining a parasite when it is not infecting a humans. Okay, reservoir helps for as a source of infection as well as a source of reinfection. Okay, so then infection, when it is not causing any infection, it will help the pathogen or a parasite or a infectious organism to be in it or to be inside it very freely. Okay, then reservoir of infection. What are the different reservoirs of different this one? You'll study that. Aquatic birds are the reservoirs for some of the avian influenza disease, okay, or virus. Example, gulls, terns, shorebirds and waterfowls such as ducks, the geese and swans are the reservoirs. Okay, they carry with themselves the infectious diseases or pathogens to persist over a long period of time. They require reservoirs where they normally reside. Okay, so if a pathogen wants to be live for a long period, it has to be there inside a reservoir. It will be safe inside reservoir. Reservoirs are maybe living or non-living. Okay, living, I said, it may be any bird, any plant, any animal or any microorganism for that matter. And non-living reservoir may be soil, water in the environment. Okay, it is present. Here you can see gulls, terns and shorebirds. These are the some of the reservoirs here. The next term is zoonosis. What is zoonosis? The term is derived from a Greek word called as zoon, means animal. Nosos means sickness, animal sickness. So zoo means animals, nosis means sickness. Okay, zoonosis is an infectious disease that can be naturally transmitted between animals, usually vertebrates, and humans, from animal to animal or from animal to human. Okay, so this is called as zoonosis. Usually vertebrates, in the sense fishes, amphibians, reptiles, birds and mammals are getting affected here. Zoonosis is a disease transmitted to humans from infected animals. Transmission occurs when an animal infected with bacteria, virus, parasites and fungi comes in contact with the humans. Okay, so example of zoonosis or the animal spread diseases. First example is your Ebola virus and salmonellosis. Ebola virus is a major modern disease which you have seen. Okay, recent disease. Okay, so let me tell you about Ebola virus. It is a hemorrhagic fever. Okay, and it is spread by a virus, okay, that causes severe bleeding, organ failure and can also lead to death. Okay, it spreads by the blood products, saliva, okay, or by these are all the things through which it can spread, or contaminated surfaces like that. Symptoms include fever, headache, muscle pain, chill, joint pains, etc. Okay, and internal bleeding also occurs, which leads to the fatal one. Okay, fatal things. Then HIV. Okay, you know HIV, human immunodeficiency virus, or it is a zoonotic disease transmitted to humans in the early part of the 20th century, though it has now mutated to a separate human only disease. Adre adu ivaga it is a human only disease. Okay, but it originated in a form of zoonotic disease. Then many strains of swine and bird flu are zoonosis. Okay, swine flu, it is a human respiratory infectious disease. It causes infection to the respiratory system, and it is caused by an influenza virus. Okay, it started in a pig, so it is called as swine, and it is caused by H1N1 virus strain. Okay, you know what is influenza? It's common cold and flu which we see, usually viral infection which attacks our nose. Okay, so ಕಾಮನ್ ಆಗಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಜ್ವರ ನೆಗಡಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಫ್ಲೂ ಅಥವಾ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲುಯೆನ್ಸಾ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಇನ್ ದಟ್ H1N1 strain of influenza, it causes a swine flu. Okay, and then next, bird flu. Bird flu, so as the name indicates, H5N1 strain. This is a H5N1 strain. Swine flu is a H1N1 strain. So this is a avian influenza which primarily infect the birds and can also infect the humans from the infected birds. Usually poultry allella tumba bega spread agutte. These viruses occasionally recombine with human strains of the flu. Okay, then Taenia solium infection. Taeniasis, you know that tapeworm disease. Okay, so this is one of the neglected tropical disease with public health and veterinary concern in endemic regions. It is being neglected, but it is also one of the biggest zoonotic disease. Okay, then modes of transmission of a zoonosis. So there are usually three modes we can study. One is direct, indirect, and another one is reverse zoonosis or anthroponosis. So only diseases that routinely involve animal to human transmission like rabies are called as direct zoonosis, which will directly spread from the bite of an insect or an animal. So those are called as direct zoonosis. Okay, direct zoonosis is the disease which is directly transmitted from animals to humans through media such as air, okay, or bites or saliva. So air in the sense, example for that is influenza. Example for the zoonotic disease which is spreading through the bites and the saliva of a infected animal is rabies, which you know that which is spread by the stray dog bite. Okay, then indirect zoonosis, transmission can also occur via an intermediate species. It is not direct, but between an animal and a human there is one intermediate species, so it is called as indirect zoonosis. Okay, so that intermediate species is referred as vector here, which carry the disease causing pathogen without getting infected. Okay, what vector will do is it will just carry the disease causing organism from animal and passes it to a human, but it is not getting affected to the vectors here. When humans infect animals, okay, when humans will infect an animal, humans in the animals infect adre, so such a type of disease is called as reverse zoonosis. Animal to human is zoonosis, from humans to animals is reverse zoonosis or anthroponosis. So common zoonotic illness include some of the examples. Rabies is a disease that affects the nervous system of mammals. Okay, cause it is a virus and is transmitted by an infected animal bites and other bite a person or other animal. Okay, so usually from the stray dog bite it is being transmitted. Okay, from the saliva. So that is there. Okay, causes, I said you, symptoms. Rabies is almost always fatal once symptoms appear. Okay, treatment, vaccine is there, commonly available now. Then Lyme disease and Rocky Mountain spotted fever. So Lyme disease is transmitted through tick bites. Symptom ranges from mild to severe. Treatment is through antibiotics. So Lyme disease, it is a tick-borne disease caused by bacteria called as Borrelia burgdorferi. Okay, Borrelia burgdorferi, and it leads to rashes, flu, joint pain, etc. Rocky Mountain spotted fever is a disease with a characteristic rash on the body, often transmitted by bite of a tick. Okay, potentially fatal disease, usually infected with it is spread by the tick which is being bitten by which is having an infection with Rickettsia group of bacteria. Okay, then so here you can see the nymph stage of the tick, adult stage, and this is attached, that is after biting it will turn like this, and this is the rash. Then dengue, malaria and chikungunya, these are the three common diseases okay, which you can see in the Asian countries like Africa, India and Asia. So these are mosquito borne diseases and it is a viral infection. These are more common in certain areas. Okay, symptoms, fever, vomiting and headache. Then It is vital to treat these conditions as soon as possible, as they can be fatal here. Dengue is also called as a break bone disease because it will leads to the most of the joint pains and bone pains. Okay, and then it is called as like that. Malaria is caused by a parasite, a protozoan. Okay, so which usually mosquitoes are the vectors for this. Salmonella infection is the second one. Okay, fourth one. This is a fourth one. We call this as a typhoid. This is often caused by handling reptiles, okay, or amphibians that carry salmonella, or by handling. Salmonella is a bacteria, baby chicks or ducks. The illness usually lasts for between 4 and 7 days, and symptoms include diarrhea, fever, and abdominal cramps. Okay, ಇದರಿಂದ ಸಾಲ್ಮೊನೆಲ್ಲಾ ಸ್ಟ್ರೇಸ್ ಈ ಥರದ್ದು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸ್ಟ್ರೇನಿಂದ ಟೈಫಾಯ್ಡ್ ಕಾಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸಾಲ್ಮೊನೆಲ್ಲಾ ಟೈಫಾಯ್ಡ್, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅನದರ್ ಡಿಸೀಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಟ್ರೀಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇಸ್ usually recover without medical treatment, although conservative measures are recommended. Okay, this is the diagram of, picture of a salmonella bacteria. And then E. coli infection. This infection is often caused by touching infected animals or handling contaminated food. Cows also have E. coli germs on their udders. Okay, usually cows na handle ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, milking, those who milk the cows. Udder, these are the mammary gland of the female cattle, sheep, goats, horse, and animals having 2 or more teats. Okay, so causes, symptoms often associated with food poisoning. Salmonella can cause vomiting, abdominal cramps, and diarrhea. Treatment is, it is essential that infected people should take rest and drink plenty of fluids. Okay, this you can see how it is there in the digestive system. Then psittacosis, this is another disease. This is also called as parrot fever. Okay, this is a bacterial infection. The most often affects the bird. Human causes is humans get it from the feathers, secretions, and droppings of the birds. Infected birds in droppings in the barutte. Symptoms include fever, headache, and dry cough. In serious cases, it may leads to pneumonia, serious lung infection. Okay. So control and prevention, you have to clean the bird dropping, reduce stress in birds, keep circulation of feathers and dust to a minimum. Okay, so these are all the things. Then other types, there are hundreds of zoonotic diseases, but many are rare. Other well-known types includes anthrax. Anthrax is a bacterial illness which affects animals, spread to humans by infected animals. Okay, it causes skin ulcer, breathing problems, etc. Then I told you about avian influenza and bird, or it is also called as bird flu vine. Then TB, it is also tuberculosis, TB ಅಂತ ಕಾಮನ್ ಆಗಿ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. It also affects the lungs. It is a bacterial disease caused by mycobacterium. And then brucellosis, this is another type of disease. Okay, and then cat scratch fever, an infection of, it is also a bacterial infection. Then cat scratch fever, an infection of lymph nodes, which is followed by the scratch or the bite from the cat. Okay, it is a bacterial disease caused by Bartonella henselae. This is a type of bacteria. Then next is Ebola. I told you about Ebola virus. Then West Nile virus leprosy. This is also called as Hansen's disease. Primarily it affects peripheral nervous system, then skin, then respiratory tract, eyes. It is caused by Mycobacterium leprae. Okay, then Zika fever. It is caused by virus which spread by mosquito bites. Paralysis is the common symptom here, and spread through animals or insect stings. All these will spread through animal bites, okay, or insect stings. Then trichinosis, it is also called as the roundworm diseases. Okay, trichinosis is also called as trichinellosis, is parasitic disease caused by the roundworm, occurring initially, causing initial infection in the intestine and is affecting the intestine completely and resulting in diarrhea, abdominal pain, and vomiting. Okay, then swine flu, I told you about swine flu. Next is histoplasmosis. It is a lung infection caused by inhaling Histoplasma capsulatum fungal spores. Spores are found in soil, droppings of bats and birds. Okay, this is about the diseases. So with this, we will start completing this particular unit 1. So let me tell you once again what we have studied in today's class. We have started with commensalism. Okay, so I've told you the definition of the commensalism, and we have studied some of the examples of commensalism. Okay, we have started with commensalism. I told you the definition of the commensalism, and you have studied the examples. Okay, with the pictures you have studied 2 examples. Okay, next we have started with reservoir. We have studied the definition of that, and then reservoir of infection you have studied. Then you have studied about the zoonosis, examples of zoonosis, and the modes of transmission of zoonosis. Okay, and common zoonotic illness like rabies, Lyme disease and Rocky Mountain spotted fever, and the third is dengue, malaria and chikungunya, salmonella infection, next E. coli infection. Okay, and you have studied tickosis, then other types like anthrax, avian influenza, TB, brucellosis, cat scratch fever, Ebola, West Nile virus, leprosy, Zika fever, trichinosis, swine influenza, and histoplasmosis. So with this, I will be stopping today's class. So thank you, students.